Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Justin.
We're playoff bound, baby.
Oh, yeah. Booked our ticket.
No one can take it away from us now.
No, we're in. Doesn't matter. Now, no matter what, we could just forfeit every game.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
We shouldn't do that. No, but we
No.
could.
No.
That's the flex. No, actually, we're not playing anymore. We're good. We're
Yeah,
resting.
We're going to rest for the playoffs. We're going to play ball hockey in the back.
Yeah. Close practices.
Yeah.
No media. No, just kidding.
Media.
That's not our
Oh,
style.
wait. That's somebody else's style.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Welcome to the AudPod, where we're talking Kitchener-Rangers hockey with the oddballs themselves, Andrew and Justin. Take it away, fellas.
So I guess we should get into recapping some games.
Absolutely, we should.
Good
Justin.
banter to start here.
You want more banter? I'll give you more banter.
What else you got?
A strange Calgary Canadians jersey on right now.
Yes.
If you're on the YouTube or even on the Spotify, you can see this abomination he has created now.
I'm obviously cheering for Canada starting today. It was Wednesday. First game,
when we record.
round robin. This is like, other than the Rangers, this is the only other time that Andrew and I cheer for the same team, and both cheer for McDavid. And now all of a sudden, it feels weird.
You're gonna be excited about this. I hope anyway. Fingers crossed.
McDavid, Crosby, Reinhart, Makar, top power play. Insane.
Yeah. Let's just hope they don't give up any shorthanded attempts against, because the one thing I am scared about is the goaltending.
Yeah, the goaltending. Although, those goalies, they've been doing okay. They're not like, wait, who is it? It's Thompson? It's our main guy? Who's our main
Aiden
guy?
Hill.
I don't even know.
Yeah, see, you don't even know. It's Aiden Hill.
I don't even know. Yeah.
Aiden Hill, Sam Montembeault, and who else did they send?
I don't even know. I can't even think of who. I can probably name most of the lineup, but I can't even remember.
You just named the line of the power play. It
wasn't
Binnington. Was it Binnington?
Oh, it's Binnington. Actually, I would trust Binnington the most out of those three.
Is it Binnington? It could go either way. I think Aiden Hill is the main guy, though. I haven't been paying too much attention to it, but I am excited for it. But I've been busy, and I've been trying to follow the Rangers and trying to follow the NHL, and now there's a break. And also, we're GMs ourselves of fantasy hockey teams.
It's really our week off right now.
Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention to the Four Nations, except that all the social media outlets keep saying, who's got a better power play, the U.S. or Canada? Who's got a better power play? I'm Canada. Like, okay, we just watch like Finland win because they're getting no respect.
I was saying to someone earlier today. I was like, Finland looks like a really good NHL team, and Sweden, Canada, and the US look like all-star teams.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Binnington is our third goalie, so it's Aiden Hill and Sam Montembeault are our starters. So
a far cry from the days of Brodeur and Joseph and Turco and Waugh before that, and
Carey Price at some point, I'm sure.
Carey Price after that, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Marc-Andre Fleury, yes.
Yeah.
A far cry. But you know what? They're going to give it their all. They're going to do their best.
If your goal is to just have the puck the entire game with your forwards, it works. It works.
It's true. It's true. If the goal you might actually get the full Oilers experience. Just outscore them. That's the name of the game, is we just keep putting out 4 scoring lines and hopefully it works.
Yeah. That's the point to everyone.
The good thing though is the defense is unbelievable on Canada, and obviously they have so many centers that some of the centers are playing wing. So I think that you could see stuff happen and they could go into a blender if things are looking weird early with chemistry. But I don't know. These are the best players on earth. So
Yeah,
just,
I bet they can play together.
yeah, I think it'll work. I think they'll all be shocked at, oh, look, somebody who's as good as me. Could you imagine the luxury of? I'm not saying that. Listen, I am not saying that these guys don't go back to their own hockey clubs and play with incredibly talented people. But Crosby, McDavid, and MacKinnon on a line together, no, they do not go back and play with players as talented as
Yeah,
that, because
MacKinnon
that is
is like,
three generational guys.
MacKinnon will just be like, "Wait, you can keep up with me?"
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's finally, and just to have, yeah, it'll just be so exciting to see Sid, who has deserved to wear the C since he wore the C. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
well, he has like, doesn't he have some sort of insane like 17-0 record as a captain of
Yeah,
a Canadian team? He's
yeah, he's
like
undefeated.
unbeatable. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to see all of this, but obviously that is at the forefront of our minds right now and not necessarily looking ahead in junior, but this is an OHL podcast.
Specifically, the Rangers is who we follow. What? Did you not know that
What
before?
did you know? And we do not have a problem with goaltending. We do
No,
not have a problem
not
with goaltending.
not even a little bit.
No,
But let's jump into the first game where there was a little problem with goaltending.
it's
So
true.
the first game we played Owen Sound. We won. Key here because we're gonna talk about some not fun things for a moment, but we
Yep,
won 4-3.
we did.
And it started with a beauty by Trent Swick 44 seconds into the game, which ended up becoming his staple.
Yep. It's the, remember what we said way back? I don't know what episode it was, but the Swick start. The
That's a
Swick start.
Swick
It's a
start.
it's a Swick start there.
That's
Yeah,
a Swicky.
it's a quickie Swicky. Yeah, it was less than a minute in. I actually bet he leads the team in goals in the first minute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he has like 3 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's bizarre. He just goes out and scores right away. It's awesome.
So this was a high scoring first period. So there were 5 goals scored in the first period. Misljevic also got a beautiful corner pick. But the thing we have to talk about is the OHL Rookie of the Week. Mabui got OHL Rookie of the Week because he scored a hat trick against Schabel in the first period of
Yeah,
this game. It was like,
things
okay,
didn't really go as planned for Jason
no,
Schabel, which is okay
no,
because also a rookie.
yeah, for sure. And it was there was a lot of sustained pressure. He wasn't getting any help from much. He wasn't getting much help. So it was
No,
basically the Owen Sound was in their offensive zone shooting the puck for
yeah,
like 15
they
straight
almost
minutes.
doubled the shots. It was 15-8 after the first
Yeah.
period. So Schabel was under attack, full attack, and Pearson Bowie was a man possessed on this day, which it'll happen sometimes with rookies. And
Hey,
we saw with Ethan Belchetz early in the season, he
we don't
had a
talk about that game
crazy
anymore.
start. Hey,
Didn't
we
we have
do
to?
talk about that game because that game was the turnaround game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The reason
The
we're
second,
so good is because we got our asses handed to us.
it was a lesson learning moment.
It's true.
Then Parsons came in the second, and the team just like crazy tightened up.
Yes.
Like way more defensively responsible. After they, like you said, after they got outshot 15-8 in the first period, Sound only got 9 more shots in the rest of the game.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Rangers got 31. So it's actually amazing that we only won 4-3 at that point because there
It's
were some
true.
amazing opportunities. Humphreys and Chromiak scored some beauties in the third to bring us home.
They sure did.
Yeah. So that was a fun game. And then we went on to Niagara the next day,
Oh,
where we went
what
on
a
to
game
win
this was.
9-1. So we took those 31 shots and we were like, we should have scored some more. And then we took that all out on Niagara.
Yeah, I
Where,
felt really bad for the rookie goalie in this one, actually. It
yeah,
was,
it's a
it
tough
got to a
game.
point where it was not a good look for the Niagara Ice Dogs.
And he played half the game the night before because the starter got pulled and he went in. So it was a bit of a rough weekend for Niagara there.
Yeah, and I actually listened to the radio broadcast of this one, and from what I could tell, the Ice Dogs gave up.
Yeah,
And Matthew Humphreys, the rookie goaltender, he was basically just out there just getting, it was like a shoot around.
it was a bit like that, especially in the second period.
And the Romano goal in the third period, I saw on the highlights. They literally just let him walk out and shoot it
Yeah,
where
all by
you
himself.
basically
No
are going
problem.
to score from. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was. Don't get me wrong. The game was dominated by the Rangers. 19 seconds in, Christian Humphreys scores,
Yeah.
but like the sustained pressure. It's
It
easy to look at this goal. It's easy to look at this score 9-1 and say, "Oh, the Rangers ran up the score." Not really. Like it.
no.
Honestly, it was like it was. What was it? It after the second period, which the Rangers scored with 2 seconds left in the second. It was 3-1. It wasn't like a
No, it was
runaway game. Or
4
sorry, it was
nothing.
4-1. It was 4-1. Sorry,
No,
or
no, the
I'm
Niagara
counting.
scored in the third, like
Yeah,
right
that's
near
right.
the end.
It was 4-0. I'm counting
Yeah.
4 goals. For some reason, I'm just giving one to Niagara.
The
It was
color
four.
blindness with the colors on the
Yeah, it
plate.
was 4-0 after but just blue and red, right? So it's
That's what
Rangers
you think.
4-0 after the second. Sorry. So it was
Yeah.
4-0 after the second, and it was cruise control a little bit, is what I felt.
But there also wasn't like it was a lot of neutral zone play for this because there also weren't a lot of shots in this game. Like there were only 49 total shots in this whole
Yeah.
game. It
Yeah, the
wasn't
Rangers had 25 shots. They only had 14 shots going into the third.
yeah. So it was like it wasn't it didn't feel like anybody was just dominating play the whole game. It actually just felt like it was a defensive game that kind of got blown up by the fact that the Rangers just scored so many. Like
Yeah.
I think it was 19 seconds in, you get scored against. That's a rough start for a goalie, and it's hard to bounce back from that. So
Yeah.
yeah, there were some
And,
softies.
and then honestly, once it was 40 seconds into the third, Pridham scored. Surprised that they just didn't pull Humphreys at 5-0 and put in somebody else for the rest of the third, because then 3 minutes later, Vermeulen scores. 2 minutes later, he scores again, right? And you think at least then you're going to pull him. No,
No,
no. They never pulled him. They just
they
let him.
they let him. They Patrick Watt him.
They just allowed his lifetime save percentage to be forever destroyed.
Yeah.
by this
Remember this night. What kind of person will you become?
Yeah,
His villain
honestly,
origin story.
I truly wish him the best, because like I said, I was listening on the audio and Farwell was pretty honest about the fact that Niagara looked like they gave up. Now, however, I will say the power of the Rangers was there. If you're going to give up against a team like this, the shots are going to go in because the Rangers are just too good.
Yeah, that's so true.
Huge
This
game,
was
huge game for Cameron Arquette. Sorry, just I wanted to,
yeah,
before we moved on. He had 2 goals. He probably could have had another one. Just an awesome game for Cameron Arquette.
for sure. Yeah, he was stellar. Like there were a lot of guys on this that you could point out as having great games, and I think that just
Yeah,
comes when there's a lot of scoring.
absolutely.
It almost feels like we're downtrodden about this, but it was like a very dominant win, and we're happy to take those. And
Yeah,
I saw on Reddit somebody posted like obviously an Ice Dogs fan that said the headline was Niagara ruins Jackson Parsons' day by not allowing the shutout or something like that. I
yeah,
was like, "Are you sure that's the headline we want to go
yeah, right?
with?"
I was
Okay.
bummed about that. That was late in the third. That was
It was
like
late in
5
the
minutes
third.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean it was a good goal, but it was just a bummer that it happened, and yeah, he
agreed.
deserved the shutout in that game for sure.
Agreed.
And then
Matt,
we move
I was just
oh,
going to say, Matt Andonovsky is just a casual +5 in this game.
yeah, just a casual.
Yeah,
And then our third game was against the Oshawa Generals, who did the opposite of Niagara and came out firing.
sure
They
did.
scored first this time.
They
So,
did.
yes. After almost 2 goals almost right away, as one went post to post and stayed out, but
Yes, true.
beat Parsons, and then almost immediately after, there was a crazy goal against Parsons. So, yeah. Oof.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I don't know, it did feel a bit like the Rangers just were chasing. And I would honestly say that any team chasing is never going to play as good as a team that's playing an even game or they're playing up. That's just obvious. That's just logic. However, they came back and they forced overtime.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't like, again, I think we sound a little downtrodden about this. I think to get a point out of this game was very positive.
Yeah. Yeah. After the start, like there was like, there was some defensive there were some defensive zone lapses. Like, you know, Bennett Senek was like left alone on the hash marks for a one timer, like
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
scored. Like there was a bunch of little moments that the Rangers did not look their best in this game. But
It's
they
true.
did, like you said, they fought back the third period. They came out, they were awesome. Awesome third period, and yeah, forced overtime. So yeah, happy for that point for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it was an interesting game. I really enjoyed the energy of the third period, but yeah, it was
yeah, it was
tricky to start.
disappointing that they lost this one because it was a good comeback. It was like that game they played last week where they had to fight back and
Yeah,
just couldn't. Who was that against? I can't even remember.
yeah,
I
blanked
got to
on
look
that
at the
too.
schedule. It was against Saginaw.
Oh yeah, it was second.
Yeah, it was Saginaw. They played. It was a similar game against Saginaw. They lost 5-4, where you just thought that they scored a couple, and it looked like, oh, maybe they'll come back, maybe they'll win this one, and they fell just short. And this one, they actually got a point, which is better. So you take it. I think honestly, in the run of a season, you're going to lose games like this where maybe you come out a little flat. I think this could have been a game where they didn't get a point, so it's good that they came out in the third and forced that overtime. Oshawa's a really good team.
They are. Yeah, and
The
this is a
Rangers
team
weren't.
that
Go ahead.
no, you go.
The Rangers weren't supposed to compete with Oshawa at the beginning of the season.
No, yeah, Oshawa's good. They were expectedly good. That's kind of where they are right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a concerning trend that I noticed over these 3 games, and it comes in the shot department. And now
Mhm.
the Rangers are obviously getting a lot of goals, so it's like, okay, quality shots over quantity of shots. But
Yeah.
there was a little bit of concern. Obviously the Niagara game we won by a lot, but there wasn't a lot of shots. We got outshot in that first period against Owen Sound, and then we got quite heavily outshot against Oshawa, 13 to
Yeah.
4. Like it is, yeah, like I said, quality shots are great, but there does have to be some volume at some point, and
Well,
it is a
it's
bit of a
also
concerning
indicative.
trend.
Yeah, and it's indicative of the volume, right? Of
Yeah.
possession, right? It's indicative of the possession. I should say the volume is indicative of possession numbers. Where if you're take sure you want high danger chances and you want quality over quantity, but if you see a trend of you're only having single digit shots in periods, that starts to go, is it because you don't have the puck or is it because you're really patient? How patient are you if you're chasing? So
Yeah.
if you're chasing, you start to go, oh, wait, or are you just losing the possession game? Because then I look at another statistic, because again, we don't have advanced analytics. I look at another statistic, and Oshawa won 32 faceoffs compared to 22 for the Rangers. I think if there is sometimes a weakness, it comes by way of possession and faceoffs, and like zone entries and stuff get convoluted sometimes. I don't
Yeah.
know why the neutral zone play sometimes regresses game to game, but I think realistically, when they're firing on all cylinders, we don't see any of this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is like, it's always high shooting, high scoring. Yeah. We've seen them blow out teams like double the shots at the end of the game this season.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah. Okay. Well, it's something that I think I think we'll keep an eye on going towards the playoffs, because the possession always goes down, or neutral zone time always goes up in playoffs. So being able to sustain some offensive zone time is important. And yeah,
we don't want to seem like low energy or not excited about the
no,
fact that they had 2
we are.
wins, one that
Yeah,
was huge and an
of
overtime
6.
loss. 5 points out of 6 is awesome. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
one of those
amazing.
things where you're starting to overthink everything because now we're looking down the stretch. I'm starting to think about seeding. I'm starting to think about being basically we're third. That's basically where we're going to sit because
Yeah,
with Windsor in the division, in the other division, they're going to have the top seed in that division, right? You start to think about third. You start to think about how some of these teams that you're going to play in the first and second round, there's no cupcakes coming in here. And so you got to start to think just, man, we got to get as many points as possible so that you stay in that third spot and that you play the weakest team you can possibly play going into the playoffs.
yeah, for sure.
And you want to be playing your best hockey. We don't want to be,
No,
we don't
you don't
want
want
to
to
be
coast into the playoffs.
exactly. You don't want to be like we had this huge winning streak. We won 6 games 3 times. We 6 games in a row 3 times, and then you win some, you lose some going into the playoffs. So I just want to say that we're being like we're over
We're
analytical of
nitpicking this team at this point, for
yeah
sure.
of missing out on a point in a
Yeah,
3-game swing. Right?
yeah,
They're doing incredible. We're diehard Rangers fans, especially of this team this year. This is a special year.
it is. Okay, how does playoffs work in the OHL? This I actually don't know how the seeding works. Is it division first? Like you play
So
the
it's 1 to 8, but
Oh, okay.
it's 1 to 8, but the top 2 division, like the
Yeah,
top
they
2
get the
seeds in the
top
division,
spot.
they get the top spot. So right now,
Right.
Windsor is technically second, even though we have
We
more
have a
points.
lot, yeah, 4 more points than them. So
Yeah,
right now we're looking at playing Flint as our team,
yeah.
if nothing changed. But I mean,
Yeah.
Sarnia could easily get that. It could be Erie. Like I think Sioux
Listen,
might be a little bit too far away, but
I think the
yeah,
Rangers win any of those matchups with those teams you mentioned. I'm not worried about it. It won't be easy. Flint's not a pushover, but
no.
the Rangers can beat Flint in a 7-game series.
And I don't want to get too far ahead. If we do make it to the second round, is it reseeded again?
I think it's just top seed. Yeah, so it'll be like top seed to bottom seed, like
Right.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then you would get down to
So
conference
say if
final.
Windsor won, you'd play Windsor in the second round, and if you know what I mean, it would be 2-3 and 1 and the bottom seed.
Right.
You
Oof.
know,
Yeah. It's a the wet. That's one thing that's interesting is like I think the Western Conference has some of the weaker teams in the league, and then has a few more weaker teams in the league because the East feels a little bit more like parity. Like it's like there's
yeah,
the West, but there's like the top 5 in the East.
I would say that the East seems a little bit more, yeah, like there's some talent in the East, but I think this year there's 3 juggernauts basically in the
Yeah.
West. Unfortunately,
So it's a tough
we're
it's a tough road in the playoffs when you have
and
you
what
have
sucks
everyone
is
on the same.
yeah, exactly. It's what sucks is you're gonna have to go into Windsor. You're gonna be on the road.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they'll just get knocked out in the first round, so that'd be fine.
That's true. That's true. And I honestly, there's a chance, perhaps. I don't know if this is a segue because I don't think this is where we're going, but
No, we're not
there's
going there
a
next.
chance
That's
that London maybe stumbles a bit here and they're vulnerable to be caught.
well, before do you want to talk about it before we get going into the 3 stars of the week? Or do you want to jump to 3 stars?
No, we'll tease. That's a teaser for you. And then we'll jump to the 3 stars of the week.
Okay. 3 stars of the
My
week. Andrew,
my
who's your first
my
star?
my first star. Thank you. I like to be asked
Yeah.
by the host with the most. All right. I'm going with the Cams. All right.
Okay.
Hear me out. The Cams. Yes. Cameron Arquette, Cameron Mercer, Carson Campbell, and Cameron Reed. Honestly, I just wanted to shout out all 4 of these guys because they are heart and soul players. Obviously, Cameron Reed is a offensive powerhouse and is going to be drafted in the first round and have a wonderful career and go on and do great things. But he's still very much a heart and soul guy. And I think that these 4 guys embody that heart and soul, what it is to be a Ranger. Cameron Arquette, they were saying on the radio broadcast, he was an offensive powerhouse where he came from when he was playing in Bantam. He was a sniper. That's what the
Right.
role he played. He hasn't played that in Kitchener, but he
Right.
has played the role that he's played very well. He's
Right.
extremely talented player at what he does, and the results are starting to come more and more. Cameron Mercer is the same thing. He's such a heart and soul guy. He does exactly what you want. He never stops moving his feet when he's out there. He's always hounding the puck. You just love to see a guy like Cameron Mercer score. Anytime Cameron Mercer scores, I'm excited. Like even more excited. Like you see some of these top talent, like drafted prospects scoring, and they do it, and it's so beautiful. Whatever. When I see Cameron Mercer get a dirty one, digging for the puck and scoring a hard-working goal, I love it. Gets me going. And then, of course, Carson Campbell. What can you say? This is steady Eddie. He has, I think, 22 points on the year, which is not something he's asked to do ever. He's just a great kid. I've enjoyed watching him this year. He's the type of defenseman that I just love to watch because he's a heart and soul, blue collar kind of guy.
Nice. The first star Cams.
Who's your first star?
I also like to get asked, so thank you. My first star is the Juice and the coaching staff, because there were two games where we had to fight back, and one we won, one we went to OT. Like, obviously, whatever needs to happen in the dressing room going into the third period, he's got the juice to do it. So
Oh yeah.
he is the juice, and he's got this team rolling. And I heard that there are contract extension talks in the mix. So
It's true, because his contract's coming up. So I guess what it is that he signed a 2-year contract with a 2-year option.
yeah,
And I guess how it works is generally the option is just an opportunity for them to renegotiate.
yeah.
And so that's
So
where we're at with that. And I'm very excited
I want the
for him
juice
to
to be
come back.
around, because
Yes.
this
And
is
I
big
also
business.
understand that he has aspirations to coach in the NHL. I
Yeah,
understand.
and I want him to also coach in the NHL,
But
and
I want him to coach here until 2027 when
yeah.
he can post the big dance. And
Yes.
then after that, and he wins it on home ice, he can just go off and win all of the cups. He can do whatever he wants. He can coach wherever he wants. But stay here, please. And the staff, I got to make special. Yeah. Good luck. They're more likely to hire Daryl Sittler.
Daryl
What am I
Sutter
saying?
again.
Daryl Sittler. That'd be interesting. They could
Yeah,
hire a Kitchener
very
Ranger.
different.
Very different. Daryl Sutter. They're more likely to hire Daryl Sutter a third time. Yeah, I would like them to keep the assistants they have in place as well. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. Keep the whole band together because it works.
It does.
All right. Who's your second star?
My second star is Mike McKenzie for
Nice.
bringing in the guys that he has brought in this year, which I specifically noted as Chromiak, Grizolia, Vermeulen, Pridham, Lachar, and Humphreys. I can't imagine this team without those guys on a nightly basis. They're just all fill a very specific role now that we're at this point in the season. And quite literally, we are looking at this team before in our preview episode before the season started, and we're like, we don't have enough centers. And we had no idea that, and realistically, we didn't have enough defensemen. And we had no idea of what Mike McKenzie was cooking up. So I looked through the score sheets of these 3 games specifically, and I saw how important Grisolia, Vermeulen, Pridham, Lachar, and Humphreys were in these games. And yeah, I don't know where we'd be without those guys. So all grace goes to Mike McKenzie there.
I mean, it's his honorary monthly star at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to, if you have 5 guys you want to name
Yeah.
as a star, like, well, it's the GM then.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did both. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Who's your second star?
I went with our friend Jakub Chromiak, he had a great weekend. He of course defensively he's very strong as he always is, and then he got the awesome game-winning goal against Owen Sound. Came at a clutch moment. He looked like a star forward when he got that goal. Like, yeah, Chromiak killing it.
Great choice. Great choice.
Yeah.
One of the new guys. One of the new guys.
Yeah, one of those new guys. Okay, who's your third star?
My third star, in the same vein as it was back in the day, back in the days of yore, in the
Oh,
old,
yeah.
ye old AudPod.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Do we know what we're doing now?
Absolutely
I don't think
not.
so. I wouldn't say we do.
It's just not knowing what we're doing.
It's true. It's just the current days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the penalty kill, which went 12 for 14 in these
Yeah.
3 games. But I would just prefer that they tighten up and not take so many penalties, which I know is not sometimes up to you, because sometimes games are called loosely and you can get away with a lot, and sometimes games are called very to the lever of the law. And it's ticky tack, which we see seems to be happening more and more. And as we get closer to playoffs, which makes me think the playoff officiating is going to have me pulling what is left of my hair out. And I'm preparing myself for that emotionally. I'm preparing myself to not blame the refs if something weird happens in a playoff round. I just want to put that out into the universe and say, yeah, how do we take care of that? Don't take so many penalties. So it's great that we've got a great penalty kill. That's
Best in the
awesome.
league.
Yeah, let's take less penalties and keep killing penalties when we absolutely have to.
Yes.
And your third star, Justin,
is our old friend Trent Swick. I didn't go with the olden days of 3 stars. I just love Trent Swick. So
yes,
3 goals and 8 shots in those 3 games this weekend. He has 6 goals in his last 6 games. So
he's a beast. I think he was my first star last week.
He was,
he's just great. He's just,
it's hard
what
not
can
to
you
just
say about
mention him. Yeah, for sure.
What can't you say about him?
All right, so we got 3 games coming up. We got our Eastern road trip starting out this week. It's not only just an Eastern road trip, it is the East Division. We are playing number 3, 4, and 5 in the East Division this week. In order. So we start out our trip in Kingston with the Kingston Frontenacs. We've played them once. We beat them 3-2 overtime. So we have a 1-0 record with them. I mean, the Kingston's been playing well. Like they're fourth in the East Conference. So they're just
they went nuts at the trade deadline. Yeah. They acquired a ton of players. They've been playing really well since the trade deadline.
Yeah, they're 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, they're going for it. So it'll be a test for sure.
For sure. Yeah, they're definitely on the upswing. And then we play the Ottawa 67s. So we have also beat them. We beat them 6-3. They're sitting 4th in the East Division, 9th in the Eastern Conference. So they kind of feel like Little Bro in a different way because they have Luca Pinelli.
Yeah. In a loving way.
In a loving way. Like, yeah. Pinelli. I like that name.
Yeah. Exactly. There was rumor that they would trade him to Kitchener. There was rumor.
Yeah.
I was
kind of hoping he would show up there too, but I think the NCAA picks are better than a trade pick this year.
Hey, I love not giving away assets and getting
a
first line center out of it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you could do that in the pro leagues? Yeah. Like there's another guy. That's what people.
We just went scouting and found one.
They must experience this in people who love soccer or football. This is what they experience. They're like, oh, we got this guy on loan who's coming in. And you're like, sorry, what? Oh, yeah, no, he's immediately the best player on the team. You're like, what? How does this league even work? I'm getting a small piece of that with the NCAA, with Christian Humphreys coming in mid-season. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah. So Ottawa 67s, that game. And then finally we play the Peterborough Petes. The sneaky Petes these days, like they're pulling off some wins. Petes. Like,
listen, they didn't beat London, but they did end the streak. The Petes ended the streak.
I know.
You know what, though? I love it. Petty Pete's, because they were down 3-1 and they didn't pull the goalie. And I was like, yes, I'm like, this is how I would coach. I would win a lot, but this is how I would
pettiness. Pettiness to the core.
Pettiness, the pettiness of the Pete's. Yeah. I loved it. So anyway, they're in my good books because they did that.
They have great jerseys. So it's like they're a good team that we like. And so hopefully we don't beat up on them too much. We beat them 4-1. So we've beat everyone that we're playing this week. We've beat once, and they're their own conference division, whatever I'm talking about.
And speaking of the streak, OHL around the league.
Yeah. So there is, I'm going to firstly say that we are going to briefly talk about this, but you should go listen to the OHL podcast because Mike Farwell does a much better job about describing what has happened around this. But like TLDR, there was a goal that Easton Cowan was given an assist on where he was probably the third assist, but he was still given the assist.
Basically, the puck came off his stick, and it may have been deflected or tipped by a teammate, which would have made him the third assist, which we don't award.
Which doesn't get counted.
Which would have ended the streak early. It doesn't matter because the streak ended up ending a couple games later. However, there is something that happened. Like I said, we direct you to that podcast to listen, but the brief rundown is Farwell basically posted it saying, here may be evidence that the streak ended and this is a phantom assist, which sometimes people get things wrong. And I don't think he was pointing it out to do anything evil. And the London Knights took away his media credentials and blocked out all from doing anything at the Rangers London Knights game. That's how they responded. If you want to talk about pettiness.
Yeah, which is, against the OHL guidelines is what we've gathered.
Yeah, like you cannot do that. That's not something you can do.
So I hope there's some repercussions coming out of this, but I mean, maybe I'm just being petty like the Pete's. So,
No, I think that if you do something like that, then there needs to be something levied against the team. If you block out media, where quite literally there is a rule that the OHL has put in place. If you break the rules, it doesn't matter if it's media availability, it doesn't matter if it's the stick curvature, it doesn't matter what. If you break a rule, there has to be a repercussion. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of breaking rules, the Knights continued to...
Crazy segue. That's a crazy segue.
The London Knights continued to not have a great week as Cam, not one of our Cams, a different Cam, Cameron Allen, was arrested in London after drunk driving, fleeing the scene, causing injury, causing a crash. I'll read the CBC bit that we were talking about. 20-year-old Cameron Allen, a London Knight defenseman, has been charged with impaired driving, impaired operation exceed blood alcohol concentration, failing to remain at the scene, failing to report an accident, and blood alcohol concentration above 0 as a novice driver. That's a lot. He has been suspended by the OHL.
That's a lot for 3 o'clock in the day, too.
Not
that it wouldn't be a lot at 3 a.m., but it's
when the sun's still up.
Yeah. Listen, it's easy to say the wrong thing. I'm not going to make light of this at all, especially considering, I don't know unless you're dead and under a rock, that the topic of drunk driving and hockey players is very poignant to go into the season. We lost Johnny Gaudreau, his brother, to a drunk driver. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to say what I think about this. But if I had to say, Mark Hunter, Dale Hunter, get your house in order. Get your house in order. All right? That's all I got to say. It banned me from the stadium. Doesn't matter. I don't want to go to London anyway.
Yeah. We trashed London last week and it was more fun. And now this week it got more serious all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm not trashing you because you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah. And obviously Cam Allen has been suspended from the indefinitely with all this. So
Yeah.
we won't be seeing him for a while, I don't imagine. And yeah. So, but let's jump ahead to the greatest Ranger of all time.
The G.R.O.A.T.
The G.R.O.A.T.
The G.R.O.A.T.
Oh yeah, we're neither of us hitting those high notes today.
No, and I'm worried that I'm waking up my son.
The last week where we will have 2 G.R.O.A.T. nominations. So we have done 29 G.R.O.A.T. nominations. After tonight, we will be at 31 nominations. And then next week, we have 1 more nomination. And I'm going to pause because Andrew, your mic just started going crazy.
Whoa. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I saw that. What is that?
It's fine now.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. I'm going to do let's do the whole G.R.O.A.T. thing again because I think it started in there somewhere.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It was just that it was vibrating. It was just literally vibrating. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. And now it is time for the greatest Ranger of all time.
G.R.O.A.T.
The G.R.O.A.T.
Thank you. My baby's sleeping. I can't do it again. That was technically take 2, so I can't do it again.
It was take 2. We can't do that again.
I would get a text from my wife being like, "What are you doing?" She knows what I'm doing.
Yeah, she knows. She knows.
She knows all too well.
So this is the last week where we will have 2 G.R.O.A.T. nominations because we have done 29 G.R.O.A.T. nominations. At the end of today, we will be at 31 G.R.O.A.T. nominations, and then we have 1 final G.R.O.A.T. nomination next week. And so this is my last G.R.O.A.T. nomination. A lot of these have been surprises to each other throughout this process, but the last few here, we've made sure that we know what we're doing because we want to make sure that the gamut gets covered. I don't know if that's a term, but anyways.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like the pool is shrinking and we don't want to end up doing the same one or missing somebody that we felt like needed to be in there. So the last few have been choreographed, but the first many were all surprises.
Were actual surprises.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go first this week. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Justin's final G.R.O.A.T.
My final G.R.O.A.T. From Woodbridge, Ontario. This defenseman was a Kitchener Ranger from 1999 to 2003, Y2K. And by the time he left, he had cemented himself as one of the best two-way blue liners in team history. 191 games played, 29 goals, 106 assists, 135 points, a rock-solid presence on both ends of the ice. His final season, he helped Kitchener win the 2003 OHL Championship. He also helped Kitchener win the Memorial Cup. And he was also named to the Memorial Cup All-Star team. The guy did it all. He quarterbacked the power play, shut down top scorers, played heavy minutes in every situation. Then he went 12th overall in the NHL draft to the Washington Capitals. Kicked off a 488 NHL game, kicking off a 488 game NHL career that saw him play for 6 different teams, including a very deep playoff run with the New York Rangers in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, my final G.R.O.A.T. nomination, G.R.O.A.T. Steve Eminger.
Oh, yes. A big, powerful defenseman. Love Steve Eminger. I remember him in the NHL games with the Capitals, and he used to just be able to crush people. I was excited when I found out he was a Ranger and that he was on that Memorial Cup winning team.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Who is
my second last G.R.O.A.T.? Born in Aurora, Ontario, March 31st, 1993. That's right. My G.R.O.A.T. is younger than me. In fact, he's still playing hockey. He is a coveted right shot defenseman. He is drafted 3rd overall by the Kitchener Rangers in the 2009 OHL Bantam draft. And in 2008, that is wrong. He was drafted 3rd overall by the Kitchener Rangers in the 2008 OHL Bantam draft. In 2008-2009, he began his first season as a 16-year-old and led OHL rookie D-men in scoring with 39 points in 62 games, playing alongside future NHLer and Columbus first-round pick John Moore. He followed up the rookie season with a trip to the playoffs where the Rangers would get to the 3rd round, and he would contribute 17 points in 20 games, leading all Rangers defensemen. He was named to the OHL All-Rookie team. In his 2nd year, he broke out. He led all OHL D-men in scoring with 26 goals and finished with 79 points in 63 games, 2nd in total points only to future longtime NHLer Ryan Ellis. He was named as an OHL first-team All-Star. The Rangers lost in the first round in 7 games, but this guy puts up 11 points in that series. That offseason, he's drafted 12th overall, also just like Eminger, 12th overall, but this time by the Carolina Hurricanes. He joins his old buddy and other G.R.O.A.T, Jeff Skinner in Carolina. He began his next season in the NHL, but returned to the Rangers after NHL training camp. Unfortunately, less than a month later, he suffered a severe concussion as a result of a violent headshot that made national headlines. However, he returns, and he actually plays 49 games and puts up 54 points in that season. The Rangers played 16 playoff games, and this guy continued his clutch standard with 22 points in 16 games. On September 18th, 2012, he was named captain of the Kitchener Rangers for his overage season, where he continued his near point per game pace with 48 points in 54 games. He also recorded 7 points in 10 playoff games, but before doing so, played 4 regular season games for the Carolina Hurricanes. He made the opening night roster the following season and recorded an assist on October 6, 2013 for his first career NHL point. He played parts of 5 seasons in Carolina, scoring 37 points in 151 games, until he was traded to Calgary with Eddie Lack for Keegan Kanzig and a 6th-round pick in 2019. He was immediately placed on buyout waivers. However, the next day, he was immediately signed by Minnesota. After a cup of coffee with Minnesota and New Jersey, he took his talents to the KHL for 2 seasons before returning to the AHL for a couple seasons and then bouncing back to the KHL. He recorded 48 points in 111 KHL games and currently plays for EC Red Bull Salzburg of the ICEHL, or perhaps it's the ICE-HL, which is the top Austrian league, where he most recently won the championship.
Wow.
He is known as a small defenseman or a smaller defenseman with strong skating and impressive on-ice vision. His creativity with the puck was notable, and he is a true power play asset with his quick release and elite offensive skills. His name, Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy. Nice. Great G.R.O.A.T. Hey, I was wondering, should we ask the people who they think the final G.R.O.A.T is? I think it's pretty clear.
I
But
think
maybe
we should ask the people.
We should name all of the G.R.O.A.Ts we've done and see if they can pick out who the final G.R.O.A.T will be.
Let's do it.
Okay. Do you have a list of your G.R.O.A.Ts?
I absolutely do not have a list of my G.R.O.A.Ts.
Sure. I'll give it to you.
Text it to me. Perfect.
I always have let's fire them off one each.
Perfect. All right.
Got it? All right.
Yep.
Al MacInnis.
Mike Richards.
Derek Waugh. Oh, no. Derek Roy. Let's start again. Al MacInnis.
Technically, I think there was some sort of, he was just like, we'll go with Roy, I think, honestly.
Yeah, good.
Anyway.
So I felt it. Al MacInnis.
Mike Richards.
Derek Roy.
Brian Bellows.
John Gibson.
Walt Kachuk.
Andre Benoit.
Scott Stevens.
Gabriel Landeskog.
Bill Barber.
Paul Reinhardt.
Justin Acevedo.
Larry Robinson.
Pete DeBoer.
Stephen Rice.
Sandy Fitzpatrick,
Jeff Larmer,
Evan McGrath,
Hunter Brustevich,
Dwight Foster,
Scott Dickey,
John Tucker,
Jason Aikson,
Wayne Presley,
Donald Red Lawrence,
Wendell Young,
Shane Stevenson,
Jeff Skinner,
Steve Eminger, and
Brian
Babs'
Murphy.
picks. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Brian Murphy. We got all the way to the end and you blew it.
I know. And Babs' pick, Nazem Kadri. Who is the final G.R.O.A.T?
Who is the final G.R.O.A.T? Who could it be?
I don't know. But I bet there's a way you could tell us. Andrew?
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And I have no idea. If you're on Blue Sky, we'd love to connect with you there. But right now, there's nothing going on there. No. Are we on Twitter? We're on Twitter. Yeah. You can find us at the Odd Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I guess at the Odd Podcasts. I'm going to do that one more time.
Yeah.
All right. People on
Take
YouTube.
3.
All right, Mom and Dad, you're going to see it a third time. All right. Okay. You can find us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at The Odd Podcast. You can also send us an email at theoddpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And you can find us on YouTube at The Odd Podcast - The Kitchener Rangers. But I would find the link on the Instagram page and go through
But
that.
you
Or just
also
search
already
us.
knew that because you just heard it 3 times and you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, then you would know for sure. We have some thank yous to throw out. Of course, we
I forgot I was going to do something funny just for the YouTube.
Well, you did it now.
Yeah, I was like, I should just do something really stupid that makes it into the YouTube but doesn't make it in anywhere else, and Justin will watch it while he's editing it and just be like, oh, why did he do that?
No, the AI is for sure going to take that out before it gets to me. The AI is going to be like, do not comprehend, delete.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway.
And thank yous. Of course, we have Ken Bourne, Director of Branding and Marketing. Andrew's sporting the hat today.
Right here. If you're watching,
yes.
Here it is. Thank you,
the
Papa
hat.
Bourne.
And then, of course, we have to thank our prodigal producer, Liam.
The Phenom.
And that's it for us this week. So, of course, you can find us at
the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium.
See you at the Odd.